as we are joined by Chris Billam-Smith, who retained his WBO cruiserweight title with a dominant points win over Richard Riakporhe at Selhurst Park last weekend. Chris with us live here in Frankfurt. So for the time being, we'll talk boxing, and we make no apology for it. We'll finish, of course, with a bit of a flurry looking ahead to England-Denmark before we go today at the top of the hour. But Chris, looking at the boxing scene at the moment, one guy who seems to light it up every time he fights is Ben Whittaker. Not just because of his boxing ability, but because of what he does once he's in there as well. He's an entertainer. He's a showboater. Do you approve?
Yeah, I mean, I know Ben. I've known Ben for a few years. We were up on GB assessment together, and he's a great lad. And I mean, I wish I had that much ability and that much talent, to be honest with you. You know, he's a superstar, and that's his personality shows out in the ring. I mean, you'd like him to go, if you're going to do that, get rid of guys, I guess, but it's obviously easier said than done. You know, unbeaten opponent the other night, super, you know, proper teak tough, but got the win. I haven't actually seen the fight. I've seen a few highlights here and there.
Yeah. Do you mean that incidentally? You wish you had his talent and ability in there? What, as an entertainer or as a fighter?
Just what he can do in there. He can pick stuff up so easily. And in terms of boxing, he's very clean. Like the way he fights, technically very, very good. Great reactions and stuff like that. You know, and I wish, you know, I mean, obviously, I'm world champion, but I mean, coming through, like having that sort of style is, you can almost do anything with it.
I mean, Simon, there is a school of thought that it disrespects the opponent, but you don't fall into that line of thinking.
Not hugely. I think boxing is the entertainment business, and I think he's charismatic. I think, as Chris says, he's got remarkable natural ability. Now, whether that natural ability can then be honed into him becoming a world title holder is a different matter, because he's going to have to go through the gears, and we'll see how he's able to operate with certain aspects of his character when he gets more pressure put on him. But I think I think he gets people talking about boxing, he gets people talking about charisma and style, and he brings more interest than currently his deeds warrant, because he's 8 fights in, and a lot of the fights that he's had are people that have been put up to be able to help build his career. So you have to give that some credence. But I think he's an important value added. But I think the important thing to take away from this conversation is CBS here is sitting in a situation where he can fight for the WBA belt and then move on, which I think he can win in this instance, which, Christ, don't get me tipping you on anything, because everything I tip goes
just going to say.
Right? But then you're talking about a British fighter fighting for an undisputed set of titles, and that must be looked at properly, because A, he's done brilliantly to get a world title. B, he's done brilliantly to keep it. Now he's into a stratosphere where he can unify belts. And actually, we always talk about undisputed, and we always talk about these unique circumstances. We could have another undisputed fight in a division, a major division, and potentially another undisputed champion in the same way that Josh Taylor was undisputed.
And in my view, nobody would deserve that more than Chris, who's just an absolute gentleman outside the ring as well.
Nickname.
But here's the thing, though, Simon, just in Ben Whittaker, I'm not going to stop on this one. Does he not need a knockout punch every time he fights if he's going to perform the antics that he performs inside the ring of the showboating variety?
Well, maybe. I mean, in his division, we talk about the powerhouse, which is Beterbiev. But Bivol is the standout fighter right now because he's a little bit more active than Beterbiev, and he doesn't knock people out. I understand that the style that Whittaker has lends itself to the conclusion that he has to have more compelling outcomes. But you can also enjoy the journey to some extent. I do think there is a question over his power. There's certainly not a question over his technique and his timing and his entertainment. But I think a lot of people, you saw the last round against Ezra on Saturday, and there was a feeling that he could have done that earlier in the fight and jumped on him and got him out of there. You get the feeling that he has the ability to get opponents out of there, and maybe it just he wanted the rounds. He'll knock people out. Whether he can knock people out when he gets up to world level is a different matter. But again, this fella could be undisputed cruiserweight champion of the world. He's got a big name in front of him at some point in Opatea.
Yeah.
But that's a fight that gets everybody interested and gets everybody paid, and that's what he deserves.
I met Opatea in Saudi Arabia recently, Chris, and he's pretty formidable, I have to say. I wish you well going in there. But you do what you do, and you do it brilliantly. What would it mean to you to become undisputed?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's been a crazy journey anyway. But to end my career as undisputed, that is stuff of absolute fairy tales. Because no one really ever expected me to go beyond British level, and then obviously become European and world champion, defended it, and in the way I have. So yeah, to go on and win more titles, unify and become undisputed would be phenomenal, and that's the drive now.
You're not one to go on and on about it, to your credit, but you fellas make enormous sacrifices to get to where you've got to. Do you not?
Yeah, but I don't see it as a sacrifice in terms. I see missing my family as a sacrifice. That is a sacrifice. But missing, I don't know, nights out or whatever it is, and birthdays, I don't see it as a sacrifice because I get nights like the other night. And that's not a sacrifice because most people would have given up. If they had the hindsight, they would have given up all those nights out for a night like what I had the other night. So yeah, that's how I just had that foresight from a young age to look forward and think I don't want any regrets, and hopefully we get some great memories along the way. And yeah, so far so good.
Listen, you might have a night out tonight here in Frankfurt. If England do the business against Denmark, are you looking forward to this?
Yeah, I'm really excited for the game. It's my first game I got to in a major tournament for England, and as a kid I grew up as a football fan, and always wanted to see England win a major tournament. So to be able to watch a game here is amazing. So I'm excited, and yeah, I think it'll be a good result tonight. I'm expecting a solid, few goals. I think we'll get a few goals and a nice hefty win.
Are you a fan of Gareth Southgate?
Yeah, I think it's hard not to be. I think in when you look at what he's done for the national team, been phenomenal. The success we've got our hope back, and it's not just all doom and gloom. Even in regards to the media, he's kind of got the media off all the teams back for the last few tournaments. This one a little bit more expectation, but and the lads have been able to go out and play, and it's been really enjoyable to see.
And obviously, Chris, being the nice guy that I know you to be, you'd very much like Scotland to beat Hungary in their third game and get out of the group stages as well.
Yeah, no, I would. I was
there you go.
Hoping they'd get a win last night, yesterday, but wasn't to be. But against a decent side in Switzerland. So yeah, no, fingers crossed they can get the job done. And
what about Bournemouth? They kick off away to Forest in the first game of the Premier League campaign. You're going to be following them closely.
Yeah, I'm actually going out. I'm in LA and they got their pre-season out there, so I'll go to the Wrexham game. We've got Wrexham in Santa Barbara. Who would have thought Bournemouth would be playing Wrexham in Santa Barbara? But here we are. That's the world we live in now. And I'm going out there to that game, so I'm looking forward to that. And I think we should have a decent season.
I'll leave it to you, actually, Simon. Finish off this part. How do you feel about what Chris has done, about where he's going, and do you want to congratulate him again?
I do. I've already
not least for getting it so horribly wrong.
I feel quite proud of him by association, because I think he's done things, as he said, that wasn't expected of him. He's gone in and won world titles, and there's a nobility about boxing. Obviously, my primary sport was football, and spent most of my time with footballers. But I have this deep-seated affection for boxing and admiration for them. And when you sit next to guys like this, that the only worst enemy they've got is that they're not quite as braggadocio as some of the elements of the sport.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of him. I'm very pleased for him, and I think he deserves it. I think he's an exemplary professional in his sport, and I think I'd love him to go on and really cement financially and career-wise his legacy.
Chris, well done again.
Well
done again. I think you've made some new friends today. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of the England fans have gathered here. Big round of applause for Chris Billam-Smith here. Fantastic.
Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.